Hi English class. So, looking at the last video, I've decided to make a quick intro because over 50% of the people watching clicked off the video at around 30 seconds, which is impressively bad. So I'll just get to the point of the video. Assuming you read the title, you probably know that we're going to be talking about the Wunderwaffe and how it operates. But this leads me to a story. So one day I was changing the song I was listening to when I found a video that also talked about how the Wunderwaffe operated. So in my mind, I was like, oh, okay, I guess I won't do a video about the Wunderwaffe because somebody already did it and did it better than I ever could. But out of curiosity, I decided to take a peek at the video and skim over it. And unfortunately for me, going into the video, I had no idea that the explanation he was about to give was so bad that it would scald my soul. Their explanation was, well, since clouds can create lightning, can't us humans put our heads together to create a gun that does that? Now I could spend the rest of this video talking about how the answer they gave us was bum-ass and lazy, but enough about the ops. Let's get into this video. So the thing we need the Wunderwaffe to be able to do is, first off, utilize electricity, or free electrons, as its main projectile, and also make its shot be able to travel from object to object. In understanding how most targets will be many meters away, and a rule of 3 million volts for a path of free electrons to travel a meter, you would probably think this would be difficult to make, right? Well, you'd be surprised to find out that there's a lot of things you could do to voltage to shake some more output out of it. And there's many ways you can go about doing this. The most interesting one being using a phenomenon called the piezoelectric effect. This happens when you have a crystal with a perfectly symmetrical atomic structure. And in this state, it is completely charged neutral. Then when it is hit with a great enough force, it causes the atomic structure to be thrown off balance, and the electron class is displaced relative to their nuclei. And the shifting of these is what causes positive and negative charges to form. To give you an idea of how effective this is at generating voltage, a 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter cube of quartz subjected to 2 kilonewtons of force can produce 12,500 volts in some X-rays. The crystals capable of the piezoelectric effect are quartz, tourmaline, and Rochelle salts. However, the problem that we run into with the piezoelectric effect is that the output voltage only lasts for like a fraction of a second, so it's still far from ideal. Now from here, there are only a few options. You could use a Marx generator, which is also pulse-based, so its output voltage only lasts like a fraction of a second. Or you could use a much more cool DC charge pump, which is far more hip and niche, which kind of describes me a little bit. With that established, the DC charge pump is far more ideal for the Wunderwaffe than the Marx generator or some lousy crystal. Also, do not try this at home, you will die. And one more thing, I will be showing the diagram for how a visually similar Wunderwaffe would operate, and a diagram for how a more performance-based, realistic Wunderwaffe, and how that would probably look like. So here's the gun we're working with. This is the visually similar Wunderwaffe. And looking on inside, there's really not much to be dealing with. It's just a voltage-based gun. So earlier in the video, I said that we wouldn't be using a crystal. I lied. We're going to be using quartz, because there's no good way to really generate thousands of volts with just using hardware. When the quartz is hit, it releases around 50,000 volts ideally. That voltage goes to the charge pumps. Given the estimated length of those circuit boards and the average length of a charge pump, I estimate that around 18 charge pumps make up one board. Also, I'm pretty bad at drawing, so those boards would probably be a lot more thin, so there would probably be more like 5 boards than 3. But doing some math, you could find out that the output is probably around 4.5 million volts. That pretty much sums up the visually similar Wunderwaffe. Now, for what I think the Wunderwaffe would look like is something like this. If you take a look on the inside, one of the first things you'll probably notice is that it uses bullets. And I can reasonably expect that you're confused because it's a gun that shoots out lightning, not bullets. The reason for this is because we can use the voltage from the charge pumps to guide the electrons to follow the metal projectile on its way to the target. And when it hits the target, that arc of electricity that was following that bullet also hits the target, and the electricity spreads from target to target. But more so because the bullet is closer to the charge bank, so now there's a lesser chance of a lightning bolt coming out and killing you instead of the projectile in front of you. But to sum this thing up, it runs on a piezoelectric reaction from a block of quartz. Then when voltage is created, it goes to the DC charge pumps, which goes to a charge bank at the end of the rifle, which guide electricity towards a bullet. There are only two things that really make it different from the Wunderwaffe in the beginning. That is a mercury-water pressure system to apply pressure on the quartz and the piezoelectric effect, and an endothermic reaction to cool down the circuits. And the whole thing would probably have an output of around 12 million volts. But that sums up everything I wanted to say. So subscribe and please leave a comment of what weapon you want to see me take a crack at next. I do more than just weapons from Black Ops Zombies, you know. But leave a like and I hope you have a productive day today.